Amir stood at the entrance of his room, staring at the unorganized mess around him. Books were scattered across the floor like fallen leaves. His study table was covered in dust. Clothes lay on the bed as if they were too tired to hang themselves. Everything looked chaotic, just like his life. At 22, he felt stuck. He had big dreams of becoming a software engineer, of getting a stable job, of making his parents proud. But dreams were the only thing he had. Effort rarely followed. Every time he planned something, exercise, studying, learning programming, he would start with excitement and quit within a few days. His motivation burned brightly but briefly, like a matchstick flame swallowed by a strong wind. One evening, after failing another online course he had barely started, he fell onto his chair. Overwhelmed, his friend Rohan, who was visiting, watched quietly. "You look like a man trying to climb a mountain while carrying the entire mountain on your shoulders," Rohan said with a smile. Amir sighed. "I don't know what to do. Everything feels huge. I try, but I can never stick to anything." Rohan lifted a fallen book from the ground and flipped through it. "Do you know what your problem is? That I'm a failure?" Amir muttered bitterly. "Not at all," Rohan said. "Your problem is that you think life changes through big moves. You underestimate small actions." "Small actions?" Amir frowned. "What difference will cleaning my room or studying for 10 minutes make? I need big changes." Rohan shook his head. "Small daily actions lead to big long-term results, but you don't believe that. That's the real issue." And with that, he placed the book on the shelf and left Amir with a mind full of questions. The challenge begins. Later that night, Amir couldn't sleep. Rohan's words echoed in his mind. Small actions, small actions. He grabbed his notebook and wrote, "Day 1, do one small thing, anything." He looked around. The easiest task was picking up the clothes from the bed. It took him less than 5 minutes, but for the first time in months, he felt a strange sense of accomplishment, something tiny, but it mattered. The next day, he cleaned his study table. The third day, he organized just one shelf. By the end of the week, he had cleaned his entire room, not in one exhausting day, but in gentle pieces. Something inside him shifted. He realized that the mess had not only been in his room, it had been in his mind too, and clearing it slowly felt like he was sweeping away his own inner fog. Encouraged, he decided to try the same approach with studying. Instead of planning to study 4 hours a day, plans he knew he would abandon, he started with 15 minutes. Just 15. At first it felt too easy, but he told himself that the goal wasn't to feel like a hero. It was to build consistency, the power of 1%. Days turned into weeks. 15 minutes became 20. 20 became 30. A month later, he was studying for more than an hour daily without forcing himself. He began to enjoy learning again. He came across a book called Atomic Habits, and one line struck him deeply. 1% improvement every day leads to massive improvement over time. This idea became his new compass. Instead of trying to win the whole war in a day, he focused on winning tiny battles. He learned one new programming concept every day. He solved one coding problem every evening. He watched one tutorial video after breakfast. Small, simple, manageable, and incredibly powerful. A garden in the making. One morning, Amir noticed a potted plant in the balcony. His mother had placed it there months ago, but he had never paid it much attention. Now he saw something beautiful, new leaves sprouting. He asked his mother, "How did this plant grow so well? You barely spend time on it." She smiled. "I water it a little every day. Not too much, not too little. Just enough." Those words felt like nature itself was whispering a lesson. Growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens drop by drop, day by day, until it becomes visible. Amir touched the leaves gently. They were soft, but they had strength. Just like him, facing the storm. But life is never a smooth road. One evening, Amir received an email from an internship he had applied for. He opened it eagerly, only to read, "We regret to inform you." His heart sank. For a moment, he felt like everything he had done was pointless. The old habits called to him. Give up, lie down, let failure win. He didn't study that day. He didn't do anything. The next morning, he woke up with guilt spreading inside him like ink in water. He went to the balcony and looked at the growing plant. A few leaves had fallen. His mother joined him. "The wind was strong last night," she said. "But the plant didn't die," Amir replied quietly. She looked at him with a knowing smile. "Because its roots are strong. It can survive storms now." Amir felt something in his chest, strength, determination, maybe both. He whispered to himself, "My roots are growing too," and he went inside to study again. The invisible progress. Months passed. Amir kept working, improving, learning, not in leaps, but in footsteps. He built his first small project, then another one. He started applying for internships again. Some companies rejected him, some ignored him, but every time he received a rejection email, the pain was less than before, not because he no longer cared, but because he had built resilience through small daily effort. Rejection no longer meant failure. Rejection simply meant not yet. His consistency was shaping his character. His habits were shaping his future, the opportunity. Finally, one afternoon, he received an email from a startup. He clicked it without hope, his heart too tired for disappointment, but the first line made his breath stop. "We were impressed by your portfolio and skills." His hands trembled. "We want to schedule an interview." He stared at the screen for several minutes, unable to believe it. The projects he had built 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, had finally opened a door. The interview was scheduled for next week. He prepared the same way he had learned to do everything: small sessions, focused effort, consistency. He reviewed concepts, practiced coding, read interview tips, revised his projects. When the day came, he was nervous, but not lost, afraid, but not unprepared, hopeful, but not desperate. He entered the online interview with calm confidence. The result, 2 days later, the email arrived. His heart pounded, but this time he felt ready, prepared for whatever came. He clicked. "Congratulations, we are excited to offer you the internship position." A tear slipped down his cheek. He had done it, not with a miracle, not with a burst of motivation, but with small daily actions. The lesson: on the first day of his internship, Amir wrote something on a sticky note and placed it on his laptop. Small steps every day. He realized that the great mountain he once feared had not moved. He had simply learned to climb it, one small step at a time. What changed his life wasn't a big decision, a big achievement, or a big push. It was the tiny habits that built his discipline, the tiny efforts that built his skills, the tiny victories that built his confidence. Every great success story, he understood, was made of countless small acts hidden from the world. The transformation. A year later, Amir completed his internship, secured a job offer, and began mentoring juniors online. He shared his journey openly, always emphasizing one message: don't wait for big moments, create small moments every day. His room stayed clean now, not because he cleaned it once, but because he maintained it with 5 minutes every morning. His skills grew, not because he studied for hours, but because he studied with consistency. His confidence grew, not because life became easy, but because he had learned that progress is invisible until one day it becomes undeniable. Why small daily actions lead to big long-term results. Consistency builds habits. When actions become automatic, success becomes natural. Small tasks are easy to start and hard to quit. They eliminate resistance. They create momentum. Each tiny win increases motivation. They compound over time. Like interest in a bank, small improvements add up massively. They reduce fear and overwhelm. One step never scares you. 1,000 steps do. They strengthen discipline. Doing something daily proves you can rely on yourself. They turn dreams into achievable goals. Big dreams need daily fuel, not occasional fire. Amir learned all of this not from a book or speech, but from experience. And now, whenever people ask him how he turned his life around, he smiles and says,